What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the
fuck? What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on YouTube shit. Hey man, we are Today to motherfucking day. Drinking outside, big crib in the gang shooting outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia, do your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day for you, better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring down off the bat. Never let somebody tell you you are boss in the position of alone. Let's stay humble, let's get revolution on this movement. Keep y'all first, come to the Black Hebrew Israelite. As a real Jew, we out here. Alright, boom. Today, to motherfucking day. Drinking outside, big crib in the gang shooting outside shit, man. Turn up, and the gang go. Bruh. So tell me why it's like, bruh, they be looking for niggas to just arrest, bruh. It's like, if you famous, you got some money on or a little bit of clout, bruh, they trying to take out anybody with any type of, like, you feel me, memes and shit. So, this is some wild ass shit, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Trippie Red, he got arrested, bruh, and, you know, we go down the rabbit hole of what's been going on with Trippie Red, because Trippie Red been, you know what I'm saying, like, ducking off low-key, ever since 6ix9ine, you know, we got that beat going on 3 in this video, so let's get 3. Arrested at the airport. Active warrant or some shit. Man, we gonna deep dive into what's been going on with Trippie Red. After he got exposed by 6ix9ine, it's been ridiculous.
Excuse me, don't use me. You're under arrest. Excuse me.
Damn. Is that Trippie Red? He got a dad bill bond.
Stop resisting. Put your hands behind your back and stop resisting. I'm talking. Listen, I got it. Have a warrant.
Tough man.
All right, that's it. Very simple. You'll be out by tonight. Perfect.
But they would have gave me resistance arrest and all types of shit.
You'll be out tomorrow. Nobody here put the warrant in. We're just doing our job, okay? Very simple. Well, you understand you're under arrest. That's it. You're under arrest. We'll explain to you afterwards. All right? Locked. You want to take this off or you want to keep it on? Take it off. You want that property? Who you want that property to go to? You tell us. You want us to get some stuff here? What do you have? What else you got? 2 phones and a sandwich. And a sandwich. Lighter? You have a wallet? Would you have a favor? Yes, sir. Power switch on my game, please. Yeah. Nothing else on you? All right. Anything else up here? So what are we doing with my phone? You're going to take your phone with you because obviously we want you to be able to call me. You give me this phone. Which phone? You got 2 phones. It's only a game. I'll put this in your pocket. All right. You want the headphones in hand or do you want to? No, headphones. No, headphones they can keep. Here, get him. Oh. Slow down a little bit, please. Straight down. Treat me like a human being, please. We're walking, man. Because y'all are like a person. I just want to walk over. Hey, relax, man. We're just walking. This is what is the point? Shit. You always come down to that. Of course.
Then they about to go on a plane or somewhere. They put 2 Upps on them?
Hey, anybody got gloves? No. It's fine, no. If not, then whatever. Search them and walk my hands in. It's alright, don't worry.
Jumping keys and shit. Nigga would have lost that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you want to take a seat? Tuck your feet inside, make a left, tuck your feet inside. Like we say, you'll be bonded out by tonight.
I'm saying, like, why do I? There's no way I can still put me in the front.
What's that?
Still put my hands in the front.
No, we can't. For policy, let's be in the back. We're right next to the jail. We're not far, so you'll take them out.
This up? What do you mean?
No, we can't scoop this up. That's the way it is. And you provide them sit sideways. Yeah, just tuck in a little bit. All right, you good? You good?
How I move forward with Purdue Global.
Hello, boss. You requested for you to take a step.
You're wrong, bro. You're wrong, bro. I don't know why you would block my camera like that, my boy. But we're gonna figure it out. We're definitely gonna figure it out, my boy. I'm a grown man too, and I work with him, and he's my family. So it'll go however it need to go. Gentlemen, let's talk to go. That's wrong. We don't block nobody's camera like that. I got rights as an American citizen. I thought. I cannot do the regular body. Why you don't know that? It's wrong. No, I just asked you that. I was talking about it.
Yes, once she's out. Matter of fact, I'll go down there and make sure.
All individuals, man. That's not how you should represent your company that you work for as well, brother. That's not a good look for you guys. Just being honest with you. Show it out. I apologize to you guys.
crackers be trying to act like the Terminator and shit. These police trying to act like the Terminator. But bitch, y'all not that tough. Take that badge off and all that goofy ass shit and let's handle it. Like, on some real shit. It wouldn't be like that, bro.
Flying, correct? Nah, he had 2 shows ago to have a show pulling up on his show. No, but I'm saying you guys. No, he's the show. Well, that's what I'm asking you. It's up to you guys. No, we're not. We have no reason to go if you can't go. Okay. All right. You understand all the money we just spent, the money he's about to lose on this is crazy for a traffic ticket. It's crazy. We just came back from a show.
Oh, it's over a traffic ticket? Damn, they better throw that nigga to the ground, break that nigga neck off.
We just came back from church 2 weeks ago.
Over a traffic ticket? They better break that nigga down.
He has not had any traffic stops in between those times at all. Yeah. Like, come on, man. He doesn't even drive. We handle all of that. Look, like I said, it's that is bizarre. That is bizarre.
Once he goes takes care of it, they might find out today. So if you guys want to stand by, make a later.
Come on, buddy.
I'm gonna stay here with them. Wherever I need to be, I'll stay. Whatever I need to do. If you guys want, so they gotta. It's not gonna happen. We barely made this flight. We have one side. Yes, sir. They still gotta board this flight. Yeah, so if you guys, no, I know, but if we're gonna do that, we just gotta go outside. Yeah, we'll go outside. So where is he going right now, though? He's gonna go get processed. He's gonna go. Where though? Where are you taking him? I'll walk you through it over here. Let's go.
What did they tell you?
So we're not gonna make these flights because that's my client is who's going for me. So none of us are gonna make these flights.
How many?
And our bags are on this flight as well. These flights.
Okay.
Nigga, I bet that nigga like 5'3", nigga. She ain't that tall. I bet he like 5'3", 5'2". She like 5'6".
5 in total, but there's 6 total passengers.
Trippie Red ain't that tall.
If you want to pull them aside, they can start boarding if you'd like.
Okay, give me a 10 minutes.
To Louis, the father of Trippie Red, man.
Although hip-hop stardom can be painfully short-lived, some rappers manage to survive through various trends and eras, adapting their style and retaining what made them special even as sounds and tastes change. At times, even an artist who seemed to be intrinsically linked to one particular movement can outlast his contemporaries who've either dipped in popularity or tragically passed on to become one of its sole survivors.
Everybody from my era is gone. They all passed away. Everybody that was, coming from the time period I came from, I was the last one.
But now, through a combination of personal woes and professional errors, it looks like Trippie might be about to finally draw the curtain on the SoundCloud emo rap movement by dropping the ball and putting his position as its long-lasting success story in jeopardy. It's your boy Luis, and today we're going to be talking about the self-inflicted fall of Trippie Red. From a missed moment that could have made him into a superstar, to drama with women that shifted everything, and the downfall that caught everyone off guard. At the moment, it seems like Trippie can't do anything right. Whether he's being clowned for his relationship dramas, or his instance that he's still killing it musically when everything points to the opposite being true, even the Canton, Ohio artist's most devoted supporters are starting to look at him in a new, unfavorable light, and questioning why they still care. Now, they wonder if it's just nostalgia, or the lingering hope that he'll recapture what made him so special in the past. We all got hooked on his music when we were younger. Now it's just second nature to check his catalog, even if you don't care as much anymore. But this didn't happen in the blink of an eye. Instead, the hate and general disinterest which Trippie faces now is a product of a whole host of bad decisions, which the young, idealistic, and passionate man who first broke into the genre probably wouldn't have believed he'd ever make. The young kid, lesser known as Michael White, kickstarted his journey through hip-hop when he started dropping songs at the age of 15. Specifically his breakthrough song called Angry Vibes, which made waves in his local area. In an interview with Vice, Trippie claimed that this song was one of the first ones that really popped off for him, where he began getting noticed at places such as malls, as the track was so lit that he would, quote, make people break their floors at parties and shit. But as much as that early recognition was probably a thrill, fame didn't seem to be his driving force to get involved in the art form. Instead, it was to pay homage to a lost loved one who had dreams of becoming a rap star.
So what got you into music? How'd your journey begin?
Honestly, my brother made music, so when he had passed, it made me want to do music. I got real inspired to do music to the point where I would be at my grandma's house on the steps rapping and stuff for hours, just freestyling, coming up with stuff. I really was rapping at first, and then getting into music and listening to newer stuff. I was like, okay, I can be free to do whatever I want type stuff. So.
Sure.
After a brief period of experimenting with alternative rock, which he deleted from the internet, Trippie was noticed after moving to Los Angeles and signing to what was then known as Strange Entertainment, the original label of Elliot Grange, which is the son of Universal mogul and current enemy of Drake, Lucien Grange. As his buzz picked up speed, it'd be his debut mixtape A Love Letter to You, specifically its platinum-selling single Love Scars, which showed off Trippie's rich vocals and musical versatility. And at a time when emotionally vulnerable takes on hip-hop were in high demand, Trippie was soon seen as a potential voice of a generation.
I have multiple different messages. I keep them in a letter fashion. That's why I call my shit A Love Letter to You. I just want the youth to live and be happy, you feel me? Be happy with life. I want to do something. I want to be better and be successful and don't fall under, because there's been multiple times I could have fell under and I didn't. I kept myself up regardless of anything. I feel like everybody's been suicidal at some point.
Now linked to Elliot Grange's 10K Projects label, bodies of work that followed, such as Life's a Trip and A Love Letter to You Too, essentially made him a star in one fell swoop. Providing sales upwards of 80,000. And in the case of the former, a chart peak of number 4. An incredible rise, considering it came out a little more than a year after his first mixtape. But while Trippie was on the rise, a feud with one of his label mates would provide the first hint of the kind of internet idiocy that would later help to derail his career. The bond between Tekashi 6ix9ine and Trippie Redd peaked in 2017 with the release of Pulse 1469, a track which showed that the two could potentially be a real hit-making duo for the future. In fact, the Pierre-born beat that was used to springboard 6ix9ine to success with Gummo was actually intended for Trippie to begin with. However, when some unsavory allegations about 6ix9ine and minors came out, Trippie emerged and took a moral stance against him.
I'm sorry, brother. 1400 don't promote. We don't, weird. I'm a timeless artist. I can't surround myself with goofies. But if we give clout, you feel me? We give clout. It was an accident. Technically not an accident. I made some good songs, brother. But that's not how we rockin'.
This led to constant mudslinging between the two, some of which caused the first major controversy and what could have been moment of Redd's career, something which Tekashi summed up perfectly while going on an Instagram hate campaign against Trippie. At Trippie Redd, you lie so much. That's why your career is going down. You know that ain't true. That's why you dubbed your best friend, XXXTentacion, to clout suck Drake, and he still took you off the song, LMAO. To fill you in, Trippie and X, much like he and Tekashi, had been close for a while, and according to some interviews, it was a brotherly bond defined by love and a desire to succeed.
X had hit me through DM on Instagram before I even had got to Miami. I was going to Miami to do several shows, and I performed in Orlando, and then I performed in Miami with X. Ever since I had met bro, we had just became like super cool friends. He like my friend, my rival, all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just a genuine nigga. I fuck with him. He's real as fuck. I don't give a fuck what nobody says.
But as Tekashi referenced, Redd's decision to work with Drake, who was alleged to have jacked X's flow on KMT while he was still in jail, caused friction between him and X.
I told bro I was cool with Drake. He acted like he was cool with it, but he didn't really. He didn't like that I was cool with Drake, but saying I was his best friend. So that's what happened. Anyway, I took the 14 chain. I gave him threw that in the trash. You know what I'm saying? And as life goes on, you just learn. Like, that's learning. I can't give that I just met 5 months ago thinking I was cool with them. $1,500 chain that I took out the kindness of my heart. You gotta look at it like this. Yes, the chain is only $1,500, so I don't give a but I bought 20 of them.
And while they apparently patched it up in March 2018 before X tragically passed, the feud caused them to miss out on valuable time together. And to make matters worse, he wound up missing out on the massive hit that became Drake's God's Plan anyway. And in the process, lost his chance to get that rocket-strapped boost that Drizzy was capable of providing to careers back then. But when you really dig deep and break it down, it seems like this situation happened for 2 reasons. First off, Trippie Redd's DJ supposedly played snippets from the song at a New Year's Eve party without obtaining clearance from the OVO camp. And when people started recording the track, Drake and his crew had to spring into action to ensure it didn't leak. But what frustrated those who were invested in Trippie even more is that he simply failed to record his verse in time, instead choosing to sit out on it, which in turn led to him missing his window in the process.
Say that you had multiple songs with Drake Drake in the tuck somewhere. Was that a lie or is this the truth? Do you have songs recorded with Drake?
I had one song with Drake, and that was the God's Plan shit.
Okay, that was the only one.
I didn't finish that shit.
Copy.
Got sick.
Do you regret not being able to finish it, knowing the success that record had?
No, I'm pleased to do it. I had the song for 2 months. I could have did the shit.
Although he tried to act like this wasn't really a big deal, the fact is that he missed out on one of the biggest songs of all time. Commanding 2 billion views, it was Drake's first ever track to go diamond, and would have provided the kind of stimulus package that is potentially king-making in the same vein as Laugh Now, Cry Later was for Dirk. But others feel that there's no guarantee it would have taken off like that with Trippie on it, arguing he would have brought the song down and hampered his success. Still, even if Trippie truly wasn't bothered, he didn't show it, as he attempted to lure him back into providing some shine in the form of a feature. At one point, he shared a snippet on IG writing, "Wish Champagne Poppy was on this," and while it didn't work, it could have been very helpful, as his upcoming exclamation point album was one of a succession of records that were by no means loved by critics and varied widely on the commercial front.
That is rough. That is rough. So, yeah, this new Trippie Red, it's not good.
From late 2018 onwards, Trippie had his first major career crisis, where it felt like things were not hitting the same like they were before. For starters, 6ix9ine was still on his neck, suggesting that he hasn't seemed to be a misstep from his enemy, as basically as soon as he'd written off Topanga as his last big song, he basically summoned bangers from him. Although 2019's A Love Letter to You 4 marked his first #1 album and his highest first-week sales of his career to date with 104,000 units sold, it would be 2021's Trip at Night, which truly reasserted him as a force to be reckoned with. Tapping back into his chaotic sound of SoundCloud rap's origins, tracks like Mr. Rage gave him a new lease of life, and the 81,000 first-week sales of Trip at Night led to a lucrative re-up with 10K that suggested that he was among the genre's elite, just signed to Elliot Grange for $30 million. Now it's time to start dropping A Love Letter to You 5 songs. Soon after, he was claiming that he was making $200,000 to $400,000 a show, and that most of that $30 million was going directly in his pockets. Like never before, Trippie proved why his hustle and talent had granted him the respect of his peers. Just months before the deal was signed, Lil Uzi praised his grind, arguing that people don't give him as much credit as he deserves, but his numbers definitely show his credit. I'm gonna tell you one thing about Trippie Red, he deserves more credit. Another thing about him is that he gets money. I cannot respect someone who don't get money. And one thing about Trippie Red is he always comes with a good song too. See, it's no middle. It's either you love him or you don't love him. And that's not the only endorsement he's had from esteemed figures in the past few years either, with Tyler the Creator saluting his eccentric ways as he declared, "You're such a freak, and I mean that in the best way possible. I love it, dude. You're beautiful. It's sick." With that kind of momentum on his side, it really started to seem like Trippie was about to equal the status of other artists from his class, like Uzi, Cardi, and the late Juice WRLD had reached. However, it wouldn't be long before it all came crashing down, with 10K Projects likely wondering if they maybe gave him a little bit too much of a bag. As it turns out, Mr. Rage would be the last platinum track of his career to date, let alone to go double platinum. Since then, Trippie's career has essentially been one mishap after another, and it only made it more frustrating both for fans and the artist himself as his music was persistently leaking. Just as 2020's underwhelming and overly long Pegasus dropped in advance, his 2023 Project Mansion music didn't exactly astound listeners either, with the record dropping from 3rd with 59,000 first-week sales on the Billboard charts to 21st within a week. But the record was delivered under a cloud of controversy, as Trippie revealed that it had been stolen by hackers.
I was held for ransom on my project. They wanted me to pay them $1 million because they had all my records, every single last one, all the features. Some hackers.
Wow.
They had all my songs, so I had to rush the project out. And then on top of that, the Travis song, I had it, but I didn't have the session. So that's what Travis sent to me. I didn't mix it. My engineer didn't mix it. That's what Travis sent to me.
And you just had to run with it.
I had to run with it because if I didn't, the whole project was going to release, and it would have been a big thing. And this has been a big thing. Like, they have been hacking and leaking like crazy. Like, at least my last 2-3 albums, I don't know how they do it. Pegasus, it probably leaked 2 months before it dropped, bro.
Much like he missed out on the Drake feature, the result was an unfinished record, and one which sounded disjointed with half-mixed tracks. This meant that tracks like Crazy Train with Travis Scott, which was intended to be a breakout single, instead wound up being the worst performing single that LaFlame had featured on since 2019's Power is Power from the Game of Thrones soundtrack album. From there, things would go from bad to worse. Later that year, St. Michael EP registered 7K first week sales, with its deluxe failing to even make the charts. Bro went 3 times aluminum, and considering he was shifting 104K units just 4 years earlier, it represented a really dramatic downturn for him in terms of fan interest and Billboard success. But with a Love Letter to You 5 around the corner, both Trippie and his label probably weren't too alarmed. After all, this legendary mixtape series had always delivered, but this time, nothing could be further from the truth. Debuting at number 13 and just 30K first week sales, it became the weakest entry in the Love Letter series, falling short even of Part 2, which had once been seen as his early breakout. And suddenly, some of Trippie's more cocky claims about his place in the hip-hop league were looking a little short-sighted, especially since this clip of him clowning rappers for selling 30K aged like milk.
D-list rappers thinking we about to create Avengers of trash niggas. If we all put our 30,000 first week together, nigga, we gonna make a bit.
While he claimed it was specifically a 6ix9ine diss after he dissed his dead brother, that doesn't really hold up under scrutiny when you look at the fact that he suggested they team up. So, above all else, it was simply a bad look for Trippie. However, it was far from the only blemish on his reputation in recent years, as when you look back at how Trippie's output and acclaim have declined, it can only be understood by examining some of the other factors which contributed to it. For starters, there's the toll taken on him from his sustained drug use. As much as it was a crucial aspect of the image of the emo rap era, the death of his friends and former collaborators at the hands of narcotics provided plenty of reasons for him to switch up his life choices. In fact, he even pledged to stop consuming them after Juice WRLD's untimely death.
To use this time as a wake-up call. If it ain't weed, we ain't doing it no more. If it ain't weed, we ain't doing it no more. So when I say we,
See, even these days, fentanyl done took over the game. Even though we ain't
emo music artists, no drugs. I kick the cup, I kick everything but this.
He even pleaded with his fans to put down the cup after realizing the hazards of the syrup.
Don't do lean. Don't do lean. Please don't do lean, bro. That shit is liquid heroin. Don't do it. I stopped. I went to my manager's house and stopped kicking at his house. And I got sick as fuck, bro. That shit crazy, bro. Like, I wouldn't wish that upon nobody, bro. You get addicted too quick to that shit. Fuck that shit.
But years on, it seems like Trippie is as reliant on these substances as ever. Bro gotta kick the cup. This is getting ridiculous, said a fan after seeing a story posted on Trippie's alternate IG account where he claimed he was sipping away the pain. Whenever an incident of him flexing his lean habit occurs, which is more often than it should, his dedicated subreddit can't believe that he's still doing this. Y'all remember him calling lean liquid heroin a few years back and telling everyone not to do it? He a drug addict. That's what makes it so much more annoying. One of the reasons I got into Tripp was because he said the only drug he did was weed. If Trippie is truly struggling with substance abuse issues, it may go some way to explain a lot of his erratic behavior in recent years, including some of his more troublesome choices that are still to come. But while that provides a window to understand some of the reputational damage he's done to himself, it's still not enough to understand the genre sad boy debacle with MGK, an EP released with a punk rap crossover star. To say that the record is one of the most critically hated of the entire decade would be an understatement.
This is the 1400.
The most critically hated of the entire decade would be an understatement. One user summed it up perfectly by writing, while thankfully short at just around 27 minutes, genre sad boy is a challenge to get through without wincing. Both rappers somehow managed to turn in performances that are simultaneously over the top and phoned in, with hyperbolic lyrics about broken relationships, addictive tendencies, crying in limos, and lost happiness. The record was regarded as such a terrible atrocity to the culture that it was even clowned on by a producer who was featured on it. The way I just learned, I have a beat placement this morning, and I know it's about to be the worst song I ever heard. Seeking to turn the tide, Trippie clapped back by telling him that he removed the song from the album, while MGK said he played himself for likes. But as it turns out, the label had already paid the producer their fee, making this attempted jive just another L for a project that was full of them, including the fact that their combined star power only mustered 17,000 units. Sheesh. But if there's any factor that has contributed to the general sense that his time in the sun is over, it's his issues with his dating life that have painted him as a pretty terrible individual. Like many young, rich, and famous men, women have been a persistent problem for Trippie since the outset of his career. Back in the day, he was portrayed in a hypocritical light by Bad Baby, following his hardline stance against Tekashi, when she revealed that he slid in her DMs when she was still underage as well. Since then, his fans have witnessed how cyclical it's all become, even making fun of it. Trippie be like, 2020, I'm so sad and broke, I need a GF. 2021, I found the wife of my life. 2023, I cheat, sorry to be like this. 2024, I just found the one. 2025, I just cheat, I don't give a fuck, I'll do it again. And by now, it's fair to say that they're a little sick of it. Then it repeats. Man, I thought Trippie was a real ass dude, but he turned out to be your average goofy. And while it may seem like an exaggeration, this is an area of Trippie's life where he is immune to learning his lesson. Just a few years ago, he seemed to have met the one in Sky Morales, only for him to screw around on her. This is something he himself revealed in an extensively long-deleted Instagram post where he publicly apologized for cheating on Sky. And to save you the trouble of having to read this, he basically cheated on her and regretted it. But considering how scared he seemed to be from this situation, you would think that he wouldn't do the same thing again. However, it seems like he messed up even worse with fellow rapper and former Flame, Coyle. To explain their history in a nutshell, Coy and Trippie went out long ago and engaged in a messy breakup, with Coy left hurt by him naming songs after her and referencing their relationship and lyrics after the breakup on A Love Letter to You 4. This included scathing bars like, "It was love at first sight and misery after 2 months, always feeling fucked up either by love or no love," and "You were only fucking with my feelings because you didn't know your own. I do miss who I thought you were, and sometimes I'm miserable without you. So it's just like you're still here." In interviews, she opened up about it, insisting they were essentially soulmates that met at the wrong time.
At first, I'm gonna tell you, be honest, no, I didn't like it. You know, it was very like, what the fuck? Right. Because I always thought like we really had something outside of the music. You feel me? So I'm just like, damn, you got something to say. Let's get together and you say that shit in my face. You know
make content about me?
Yeah, like I felt like I'm being used for clickbait. You know, and not that he'll sell out with or without me, but at that point, I just felt like it's some demand for clickbait. Like, could have just called me. Like, you could have just hit me. You feel me? Like, you could have just DM'd whoever, or you could have just emailed, or whatever it is. You could have got the message the fuck out there because we're very connected, and you ain't have to go ahead and put me down, like, in a song. And it just made me think, like, nigga, you think that I'm a fucking idiot, but it's just, like, overall, that was never the case of anything that he said in that shit. It's like, it was bullshit.
For years, they went their separate ways until 2024, when Trippie took it upon himself to rekindle their bond.
Spinning the block on Coyle Ray. Oh my God, how did that happen? Did you just reach out and be like, baby, I need you back? Or were you guys always in texting that time that you were? Listen, we need to know. Tell us the tea.
You know that's what I did.
So you reached out like, baby, I need you back. Oh my God, how long has it been? Because we're just kind of finding out, but you guys go on a low, I guess.
For a little while, we just been talking.
I love that.
Is that
So
a
can we
hooping
see
group,
next level?
that
Like
chain?
statement?
Yeah, it is.
So wah-wahs, nothing like that.
Crash Bandicoot.
That's my boo.
Collabing with your boo. What's coming up with you two?
It's coming.
By this time, Coy was a star in her own right, and from out of nowhere, it was revealed that they were having a kid, claiming they were ready for 2025. Even her estranged father, Benzino, expressed his excitement, with a little nervousness mixed in.
I don't know enough about him. You know, I've never met him personally. I've heard a few of his songs, you know what I'm saying? I don't try to judge based off off the internet, because Lord knows I hate when they do it to me. But, yeah, this is a different moment right now. Man, first I want to congratulate both of them, and my daughter's having a baby. This is by Trippie Red. Like, wow, huh? I mean, I would be a hell of a grandfather.
But within 2 weeks of the news breaking, everything came crashing down when it became clear that he was up to his old tricks. Nothing worse than being cheated on. I wouldn't wish this pain on my worst enemies. Soon, it came to light that Coy had found out after she caught him red-handed, with some gossip pages speculating that she had to engage in a little espionage to find out.
They were broken up already, or taking a break or whatever, and then of course he wasn't loyal to her on that break, and he said he found out she fucked some other rappers and stuff, and she put a spy camera in his room and then caught him messing with another girl, and that's when she went live and was like, he cheated on me, but really they weren't together, from what I was told.
But despite the fact that he was being outed by his future baby mama for essentially throwing away their life together, Trippie didn't back down this time as he did before. Instead, he doubled down. To every bitch I ever did wrong, I'll do it again. All the while, reveling in his freedom as though he were wronged as well.
Y'all expect me to be good to people that wasn't good to me? Man, fuck that. I am a single, young black man. I can have fun and Chevy express myself however I want to.
Where Trippie has never really been public enemy #1 before, his lack of remorse seemed to permanently alter how those outside of his core fan base viewed him. This some evil shit to say considering she's pregnant. Money can't unlame you. Grow up. Incapable of backing down now, the sense that he was a deadbeat was only enhanced by the emergence of a new song with Alex, another ex of his from back in the day.
Keep popping your shit.
I could buy a bitch a first Rolex. Fuck it, then I fly the morning.
And then, he was seen churning up with a new girl, as though he had no prior commitments. Although he attempted to shoot himself bail over not attending the baby shower, no one felt an ounce of sympathy for him. Rightfully so, your bitch ass got her pregnant and cheated on her. Like this user, many of his core fans are turning against him. But while he may be able to absorb this, what he can't let happen is for his fans to turn on him. And more frequently than ever, that's exactly what they're doing. I would pay to see him get his ass whooped. Just seems like a massive gimp now, not gonna lie. And at a time when his biggest hits are firmly in the rear view, this is something that a rapper who's gone from mainstream to having more of a niche following cannot afford to do. Despite all the pressure on his shoulders, Trippie maintained his greatest moments are still to come. It seems like he still wants all the smoke with the rap game.
It's no fake old nigga as talented as me. We just gonna leave it there. All genres. You niggas is booty. All you niggas suck. This shit watered down. All the way watered down, man. This shit 98% dick riding and 2% 2% talent.
Alongside claiming that his next album is going to be remembered alongside some of the most innovative projects in hip-hop history, he also stirred up some drama by challenging Ye's claim of inventing rage music back during the Yeezus era, only for fans to immediately side with West at a time when that isn't happening a whole lot.
The inventors of the rage sound is me, X, Cardi, and Uzi. We paved the way. Popularized it. I'm not gonna let you old ass niggas say you invented something that you ain't invent. Niggas need to take their pills, man. These niggas be psychotic, like out of their fucking mind. Like, your old ass ain't invent shit. That's exactly why I ain't pull up on his old ass, cause he always just wanna put a nigga beneath him and shit. You ain't really for the black people. You ain't really for your people, nigga. You be using niggas, and you lost right now. And artists coming up, keep a hold of y'all craft, man. Don't give y'all shit out to these old niggas, because they just want to get around you, find out your sound, use you, and then dump you, nigga. Won't fuck with you ever again, man. All these niggas cutthroat.
While also comparing himself to artists who cemented their place in the genre, like Chris Brown and Drake, he claimed that this would be his own Life of Pablo moment. A chance to redeem himself and his music in a way we haven't seen since Ye's legendary era. This whole generation of rappers he talking about came out of 2016. This man has lost his mind. He doesn't understand how Kanye influenced this whole generation, left without a real rollout strategy besides making brash statements online and leaning into his villain arc. We've reached a point where he's even being accused of using drama with Future over an ex-girl to boost his profile ahead of a project dropping.
Doing on social media, I sent it to Trippie, and I was like, oh, like, you know him, like, aren't y'all cool? Because he said that's his favorite artist, and I sent it to him. He was like, oh, get that shit off your face, like, whatever. Ben was telling me that. Get the tat off your face. You're an embarrassment. You're for the streets.
But he's been telling you that. I mean, this ain't no new shit. You know what I'm trying to say? But why would Trippie Red be doing that?
Because he's about to drop an album, and I feel like he wants the clout. I never said that out. I am not.
Rap. He's crazy. Goofy. He's goofy.
But I never, and I told him that I have the text messages of me texting Trippie. I said, why would you send that out? I only sent that to you. He was like, oh no, I sent it to my management. This has nothing to do with me. I have a screenshot of it.
He's trying to sell a music, make music.
Right now, it only feels like Trippie's making his rollout even messier instead of letting the music speak for itself. And given how the public has been viewing him as of late, along with how his recent songs have been performing, this is the last thing that he should be doing. Instead of killing it in the way that he pretends to be, Trippie is at the lowest point of his career. And fittingly, the only place that he's still thriving on is SoundCloud, where he tops the charts. But unfortunately, this depicts exactly where Trippie's career is at right now, with both he and his fans pining for those days where he was making smash after smash. The only problem is that now, he doesn't seem to have the focus to do so, nor the goodwill of the public for them to hear him out after a series of high-profile flops. So whatever happens from here, Trippie has a lot to prove before he could regain anything close to the position he once had as the man who was keeping his era intact. Because for now, it looks like he's going to be the last one to fade into irrelevance.
Rap Daily Official. It's about 6'9".
This is a bitch, bro. I don't give a what none of y'all saying.
Trippie Redd just pressed play, releasing a cold clip of 6ix9ine in jail.
I don't support bullies or rapists.
The internet went into overdrive. At first, everyone thought it was just another troll movie, until one scary detail in that video made people rewind it twice, and that's where things get dark. The footage and the current situation. On January 6, 2026, Daniel Hernandez, the rapper everybody knows as Tekashi 6ix9ine, surrendered himself to federal custody at MDC Brooklyn. He was there to serve a 3-month sentence for violating his supervised release stemming from his 2019 racketeering case. And look, the surrender wasn't quiet at all. 6ix9ine literally live-streamed the whole thing with streamer Adin Ross playing Akon's Locked Up as federal agents came through to take him into custody. Real theatrical energy. The footage spread across social media, mad quick, we talking hours. It showed 6ix9ine in his final moments before getting booked, cameras all around him, cracking jokes about the high-profile inmates he might run into on the inside. He joked about potentially bunking up with figures like Nicolas Maduro and Luigi Mangione. The whole vibe was performative, straight clout chasing, even on the way to the pen. But real talk, the reality of the situation hit different. This wasn't 6ix9ine's first rodeo at MDC Brooklyn. He'd been locked up there before during his federal racketeering case back in 2018 and 2019. But this time around, he was heading back because of a pattern of behavior that Judge Paul Engelmeyer straight up described as repeatedly blowing it, even though the courts had shown him mad leniency. The violations were all documented and on record. In October 2024, 6ix9ine got detained in New York for failing drug tests, testing positive for meth and Adderall, plus unauthorized travel to Las Vegas and the Dominican Republic, and not even telling his probation officer about his arrests overseas. They held him for 2 whole weeks. Then, in November 2024, he caught a 45-day sentence for those violations. And then, just when you thought it couldn't get worse, in December 2025, he received the 90-day sentence for ongoing violations, including repeated drug use, failure to report his Dominican Republic arrests, and not completing his community service. Dude just kept fumbling the bag. Footage of his January 2026 surrender been viewed millions of times at this point. It shows a man who once had the Billboard charts on lock getting processed right back into federal custody. For the folks who've been following the 6ix9ine saga from jump, that image carries serious weight. For Trippie Redd specifically, though, it represents something way deeper than that. See, Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine got major history between them. They made music together back in 2017. They were signed to the same label and everything. Then 6ix9ine went and ordered Trippie attacked at a New York hotel lobby, an attack he later pleaded guilty to during his federal trial. Trippie spent years after that clowning 6ix9ine in public, doing impressions of his testimony in interviews, and bringing up the attack whenever somebody asked about the situation. The current circumstances got these two rappers in completely opposite positions. Trippie Redd still out here dropping music and going on tour. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine sitting in a cell at MDC Brooklyn, not scheduled to get out until spring 2026. The footage of his surrender, the live stream, the jokes, getting handed off to federal agents, has become the latest visual chapter in a beef that spans damn near a decade. But to really understand why this footage hits so hard, why Trippie Redd's reaction to 6ix9ine getting locked up carries so much significance, you gotta understand how these two went from being collaborators to being straight up enemies. You gotta go back to 2017, to a studio on Sunset Boulevard, to an Airbnb out in Venice Beach, to a meeting at 888 Wilshire with Elliot Grange. You gotta understand what they
HR is your complete
Wilshire with Elliot Grange. You gotta understand what they built before everything got torn down. The story starts with a track called Polls 1469, the collaboration that started it all. The year was 2017, and the SoundCloud rap scene was producing a whole new generation of artists at a pace nobody could keep up with. Among all those rising names were 2 young cats with face tats and colored hair who would soon become tied together forever, first through the music, then through the violence, and eventually through one of hip-hop's most bitter and drawn-out beefs. Trippie Redd, born Michael Lamar White IV, was building his buzz off tracks that had caught the ear of the underground rap audience. 6ix9ine, born Daniel Hernandez, was out in New York grinding hard, shooting and editing his own music videos, scraping together bread from random gigs just to fund flights to Los Angeles, hoping to land interviews and collaborations that might put him on the map. The link between them came through Adam22, the no jumper, host who had basically become a gatekeeper for the whole SoundCloud generation. 6ix9ine has run through this story multiple times in interviews, breaking down how he flew out to LA with money he made filming a video for some random dude at Home Depot, only for Adam22 to completely ghost him when he touched down.
So me and Trippie Redd, right? When I meet Trippie Redd, right, I take a flight to do an Adam 22 interview, right? I met him in New York. I told him I needed an interview. He probably like, yo, who's this underground rapper trying to get an interview with me, right?
He did your first interview, right?
Then that didn't answer my call, but thank God he didn't answer my call, right?
It was Adam 22's boy Andrew, who goes by Trippie Drew, who put the battery in 6ix9ine's back with a suggestion that would flip both their careers upside down. The recommendation was simple. There was this kid named Trippie Redd who was going crazy on SoundCloud, and maybe 6ix9ine should slide in his DMs and cook something up.
So Andrew, who's Trippie Drew, said, yo, bro, you should do a song with this kid. He's hot on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So I hit him up on Instagram. He's like, yo, I'm actually a big fan of you. Let's meet up. I really didn't want to do a song with him because I didn't like the Andrew liked the, you know what I mean?
The track they cooked up that night in the Hitway studio was Pole's 1469, a collab that would help put both of them on in the rapidly shifting landscape of SoundCloud rap. The chemistry they had in the studio translated to immediate moves. Trippie Redd was ready to shoot a video the very next day. 6ix9ine, who was dead broke but wasn't about to admit that to nobody, agreed on the condition that Trippie foot the bill for everything. They rolled out to the desert, where Trippie dropped a few $100s for an ATV excursion, and they shot the whole music video during what was supposed to be some recreational fun. 6ix9ine, putting those videography skills he'd been sharpening through all his earlier hustles to work, edited the entire thing that same night and dropped it the next day.
And when we do the song, the next day, he's like, yo, let's shoot the video. So I'm like, I ain't got no money. Like, you know what I mean? But I ain't tell him that. You know what I mean? My team know I ain't got no money. I say, all right, bro, you got to pay for everything. He's like, all right, I got it. So he takes us to the desert. He pays like $200 for the ATV excursion. Remember in the desert?
Yeah. Right.
We tell the dude, yo, we gonna shoot a video real quick. We shot the video. And then when the video goes up, they start going crazy.
The video went way harder than either of them expected. The response was so crazy that it caught the attention of Elliot Grange, son of Lucian Grange, and the label exec who had already signed Trippie Redd. Elliot reached out through some mutual connections, requesting a face-to-face with 6ix9ine at his office at 888 Wilshire. That meeting ended with 6ix9ine signing to Elliot Grange around July or August of 2017, putting him on the exact same label as Trippie Redd. At the time, the whole thing looked like a blessing. Two rising artists from the same wave, already proven they could make heat together, now operating under the same label infrastructure. They followed up Pole's 1469 with another collab called Outt, which only solidified their commercial partnership even more. From the outside looking in, it seemed like the beginning of something real. Two young artists with similar aesthetics, the face tats, the wild hair colors, that aggressive SoundCloud sound, stacking their momentum together. Industry folks were looking at them like they might be the next wave of music, for real. But underneath all that, tensions were already bubbling up. By 6ix9ine's own admission later on, jealousy was starting to build between them. They were on the same label, fighting for the same resources, and as 6ix9ine's profile started climbing higher, the whole dynamic of their relationship began shifting in ways that would soon become impossible to overlook. The collaboration that started in a studio on Sunset Boulevard was about to crash and burn into something way more destructive. The fallout and the accusations. The whole relationship between Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine didn't fade out slow. Nah, it straight up exploded with the kind of wild public spectacle that the internet era had made possible, and that both these artists seemed almost custom built to create. What had looked like a solid creative partnership deteriorated real quick into an all-out war of accusations, each one more devastating than the last. The first major crack showed up when Trippie Redd hopped on social media and called 6ix9ine a file in front of everybody. The accusation was referencing 6ix9ine's 2015 guilty plea for using a 13-year-old girl in a sexual performance, a case that had landed him probation, offender registration, and mandatory counseling. Trippie's public statement was direct and absolutely ruthless. I'm sorry, bro. 1400 don't promote files. That accusation hit 6ix9ine right where it hurt the most. A legal history that would haunt his career forever, and that his ops would weaponize every chance they got. For Trippie to put that on blast publicly, after their collabs and their shared label affiliation, that was a clear line in the sand. Whatever relationship existed between them was now dead and buried. 6ix9ine's response was exactly what you'd expect from the confrontational persona he'd been cultivating all along. He filmed a video in his whip, eating food, addressing Trippie's attacks head-on with this mix of confusion and aggression.
Yeah, I already told you, bro. You just keep doing it, bro. I don't know why you hate on me so much, bro. You lit, bro. You know what I mean? Your music is lit, bro. We signed to the same label. You still hate on me. You try to throw dirt on me.
Goodbye, Netflix. I found a better.
You try to throw dirt on my name. You try to tell people not to work with me, bro. Man, bro, that's mad corny, bro. Nobody try to blackmail you, bro. Like, you act like a real female, bro.
Everybody was wondering what caused such a sudden and nasty turn in their relationship. Two artists who just dropped successful collabs, who were signed to the same label, who seemed positioned to build something major together. What happened to make things go left so fast? 6ix9ine has been real clear about the answer whenever he's asked in interviews since then: jealousy. He claims that as his profile started rising, as label resources started getting redirected his way, Trippie just couldn't handle the competition.
You seen the jealousy coming. You don't gotta say the jealousy is loud. It's loud. Trippie got jealous. Why else come at me? We was friends. Why else? You tell me.
Well, not only were you friends, but you guys had commercial success.
Commercial success. So why hate on me?
Yeah, I don't get it.
You don't get it? I don't either.
Huh.
Out of nowhere, he just called me a fat.
But 6ix9ine didn't just play defense against Trippie's accusations. Nah, he came back with counterattacks that were just as wild. He accused Trippie of having inappropriate relations with Pod Pobby, who was underage at the time. Both Trippie and Pod Pobby denied the accusation, though Pod Pobby did end up acknowledging later that a kiss had happened between them.
Everybody, listen. Apart Trippie Red, there you go telling the truth again. There you go snitch. All these rappers bad baby while she was underage. Come on. Next thing. She knows it, they know it. But you know what? No, we like them. They kids.
The accusations were flying both directions, each artist trying to destroy the other's reputation in ways that went way beyond typical rap beef territory. This wasn't about who could rap better or who had more streams. This was about trying to demolish credibility and character through the most serious allegations possible. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine's career was taking off like crazy. His single Gummo, which dropped in late 2017, became a breakout smash that transformed him from underground curiosity to mainstream phenomenon basically overnight. What Trippie Red might not have known at the time, and what 6ix9ine would later freely admit without an ounce of shame, was that the beat for Gummo had been finessed directly from Trippie. The whole beat theft added another layer to the betrayal. 6ix9ine had taken a beat that Trippie was planning to use, flipped it into his biggest hit ever, and rode that wave to industry prominence, all while publicly beefing with the same dude he stole it from. That's some cold-blooded moves right there.
Gummo came out September, October. Y'all came up with the date, right? September, October 2017. Bro, if Gummo never... And you know Gummo's a Trippie Red diss, right?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
KB was his enforcer. KB was his shotty.
The reference to KB in Gummo was a direct shot at Trippie Red, a subliminal diss baked right into what became 6ix9ine's signature track. The success of Gummo completely flipped the label dynamics that were already causing friction between them, where Trippie had been the priority signing, the one getting all the promotional resources and attention. 6ix9ine going viral changed the whole equation.
Because remember, me and Red is on the same label, so he was supposed to blow up before me. So they were putting all the money into him. And the fact that when Gummo took off, the streets went crazy. Like, they fell in love with Gummo, and like, to the label, I became the priority, and they benched Trippie, and they put me ahead. And it just felt so good because he talked so much that it just felt good, like hearing my song on the radio for the first time.
The reversal of fortunes was complete. 6ix9ine had gone from being the secondary artist on the label roster to being the main priority, while Trippie found himself riding the bench. The jealousy that 6ix9ine claims kicked off the beef in the first place had maybe been validated, but now it was Trippie who had reason to feel some type of way about being displaced, and 6ix9ine who was openly celebrating the position switch. But the accusations and the industry politics were just the warm-up act. What happened next would take the conflict from online trolling to real-life violence, and would eventually be documented in federal court testimony for the whole world to see. The hotel attack. The beef between Trippie Red and 6ix9ine had already produced enough toxic energy to fuel years of internet debates, pedophile accusations, the stolen beats, the label politics, the mutual character assassination on both sides. But in late 2017, the Conflict crossed a line that transformed it from a war of words into an actual criminal matter that would get decided in federal court. 6ix9ine, by this point, had linked up with the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, a New York street gang that provided him with both protection and a whole squad of goons willing to slide on his behalf. When he got word that Trippie Redd was in New York shooting a music video, he mobilized that whole crew. The attack went down at a New York hotel, and 6ix9ine has never denied being involved. Matter of fact, he's recounted the events with disturbing specificity in multiple interviews, describing the assault with a level of detail that makes it crystal clear he not only ordered it, but got real satisfaction watching it go down.
Were you actually there when it happened?
Yes, I was there. I was on the corner.
Can you describe what happens?
Yeah, I pled guilty to it.
Okay, so let's go.
So let's give the fans what. So like I said, I pled guilty to the shit. The has a music video. I get the call.
Parents, if your child plays Roblox, listen up. You could qualify for up to $300,000 or more in compensation. If your child was sent sexual images or material, estimated compensation is between $25,000 and $50,000. If your child was coerced to share explicit content and is now in treatment, estimated compensation is between $50,000 and $300,000. For cases involving physical abuse or attempted assault by someone they met on the game, estimated compensation is between $300,000 and $1 million or more. You can file a claim anonymously in most states, and it only takes a couple minutes.
The has a music video. I get the call. The nigga's here. I said, all right, man, I'm on my way. I think I explained the story on another, I think on Breakfast Club. Anyway, long story short, I follow her. He in a big sprint. I follow her. When I follow her, he stops in front of his hotel. Jump out. 50 niggas looking around like, what's up? So he's like, yo, what's poppin'? What's poppin'? Peace up, yo, what's poppin'?
The numbers in that assault, the way 6ix9ine breaks it down, were deliberately stacked against Trippie. He had maybe 30 people around him, his crew, his homies, whoever was there for the video shoot. 6ix9ine and his affiliates rolled up only 4 deep, but the element of surprise, combined with the willingness to escalate to violence immediately, completely tipped the scales in their favor.
Trippie's in the midst of 30 people. It's 4 of us. Trippie's in the midst of 30 people. Remember, I pled guilty to this. This shit was set in court. Just rocked Trippie's grills out his mouth. Like his grills flew 10 feet in the air. Word to my mom, his grills, that went through the revolving doors. He came in spinning and left spinning.
The image 6ix9ine paints is straight up visceral and humiliating. Trippie's grills, those gold dental pieces that became standard issue in hip-hop, getting knocked clean out his mouth and flying through the hotel lobby. His body spinning through those revolving doors like something out of a Looney Tunes episode. Whether the story got exaggerated or whether that's exactly how it went down, the assault was real enough that 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to it during his federal racketeering trial. Trippie Redd's own account of the incident, captured on Instagram Live shortly after the attack, tried to downplay the damage while still acknowledging that something did in fact go down.
I'm getting into the hotel. It's a talk about I'm 9 Trey, blah blah blah. So I go to that nigga up, and it's a next to him, bro, and it stole on me and hit me in my mouth because this is the only thing that happened to Trippie Redd, bro. The nigga hit me one time, bro, and then my niggas beat their ass.
Yo, just punch me in my mouth. Just hit me. Fuck 6ix9ine.
The gap between these two versions of events is massive. 6ix9ine out here describing a devastating beatdown. Trippie saying it was just one punch followed by his crew getting busy. The truth is probably somewhere in between, but the fact that 6ix9ine would later plead guilty to ordering the attack as part of his federal cooperation suggests the incident was serious enough to get included in his racketeering charges. The hotel attack represented a point of no return for both of them. Before that incident, the beef had been digital. Accusations getting traded across social media platforms, diss tracks dropped on streaming services, interviews given to hip-hop outlets. After the assault, it became physical, documented, and ultimately criminal. Trippie Redd's take on why the attack happened differs from 6ix9ine's jealousy narrative.
What is the situation with you and 6ix9ine right now?
I honestly don't know. It's just the internet. They'll just keep bringing me up. That's all it is. We already had squash, what we was talking about. He pulled up on me and we talked about that. He wasn't even on nothing I was on because, I'm crazy, you feel me? So I was trying to fight. He wasn't trying to fight.
You wanted to talk about it. You wanted to talk it out.
This version of events suggests an encounter where Trippie was ready to throw hands, while 6ix9ine was looking to de-escalate. A characterization that completely contradicts 6ix9ine's own boastful retelling of the hotel assault. The inconsistencies between their stories reflect the whole nature of their conflict, a constant battle over the narrative, over who was the aggressor and who was the victim, over whose version of events should be accepted as facts. What can't be disputed is that the violence was real, that it was ordered by 6ix9ine, and that it would become part of the federal case that would eventually send him to prison. The hotel attack wasn't just another incident in their beef. It was evidence in a racketeering prosecution, and that's on everything. The legal reckoning and the snitch label. The November 2018 federal indictment of Tekashi 6ix9ine represented a complete and total collapse of the whole persona he'd built up. The artist who had cultivated an image of street authenticity, who had linked up with the 9 Trey gangsta bloods, who had ordered hits on Upps and flaunted his gang ties in music videos, was now staring down the possibility of spending the rest of his natural life behind federal walls. The charges were comprehensive, and they were heavy: racketeering conspiracy, firearms offenses, armed robbery, and drug trafficking. Prosecutors alleged that 6ix9ine hadn't just associated with 9 Trey. He had actively funded gang operations, ordered violent attacks, and participated in criminal enterprises that included attempted murder. He got arrested alongside 5 associates and was held without bail because of flight risk and concerns about being a danger to the community. The federal racketeering case they built against 6ix9ine was airtight and overwhelming. Facing a potential life sentence with no real way out, he made a decision that would define him just as much as his rainbow hair or his aggressive music ever did. He flipped and started cooperating with federal prosecutors. In September 2019, 6ix9ine took the stand and testified against his former 9 Trey associates. He identified gang members by name, broke down the organizational structure of 9 Trey in detail, laid out their criminal activities, and, most importantly, for the Trippie Red situation, admitted under oath to ordering the hotel attack on his former collaborator. The testimony was thorough and damning. He named names left and right. He described crimes in detail. He provided the kind of inside information that only somebody embedded deep in the organization could offer. The snitch label that would follow him for the rest of his career was earned right there in that courtroom, where he traded everything he knew for a reduced sentence. The strategy worked from a legal standpoint. Instead of life in prison, 6ix9ine was sentenced to 24 months with 13 months time served, plus 5 years of supervised release and a $35,000 fine. He got released early to home confinement in April 2020 because of asthma concerns and the whole COVID-19 situation. For Trippie Red, the trial provided a certain kind of vindication. The man who had ordered him jumped, who had humiliated him online, who had stolen his beat and mocked him publicly, was now cooperating with federal.
Hey, boss, can I get some extra hours?
That violated the fundamental codes of street credibility that both artists had claimed to live by. Trippie's response was to clown 6ix9ine's testimony, doing impressions of his courtroom demeanor in interviews and dismissing him as a goofball. The tables had turned in a way that neither artist could have predicted back when they were recording Pole's 1469 in that Hollywood studio. 6ix9ine had achieved commercial success that exceeded Trippie's, had orchestrated physical violence against him, had dominated headlines and streaming charts, and now he was a federal cooperator whose testimony had helped convict his former gang homies. The years since prison have seen 6ix9ine try to resurrect his career while dealing with the permanent stain of the snitch label. His music has continued to generate attention, though his commercial dominance has faded considerably from what it used to be. More significantly, his legal troubles have kept stacking up. The pattern of violations that led to his January 2026 incarceration shows somebody who either can't or won't comply with the terms of his supervised release. The October 2023 arrest in the Dominican Republic for assaulting music producers, the January 2024 arrest for violating a restraining order related to domestic violence, the failed drug tests, the unauthorized travel, each incident added to a profile of somebody who had received extraordinary leniency from the feds and seemed determined to waste it. Judge Paul Engelmeyer, who has been overseeing 6ix9ine's case, summed up the situation with obvious frustration. The defendant keeps blowing it despite getting multiple opportunities for rehabilitation. The 3-month sentence handed down in December 2025, which 6ix9ine started serving on January 6, 2026, represents the accumulated consequences of years of non-compliance catching up to him. The footage of 6ix9ine surrendering to federal custody, live streaming with Added Ross, playing Akon's Locked Up as agents processed him, encapsulates the wild trajectory of his entire career. Here was an artist treating his own incarceration as content, performing for the cameras even as he was getting taken into custody, maintaining that provocateur persona that had defined him even as it led him right back to prison. For Trippie Red, watching all this unfold must
must carry a particular weight. The man who ordered his assault is back in federal custody, serving time for violations of the very cooperation agreement that branded him a snitch. The rivalry that started in a Hollywood studio escalated to a New York hotel lobby and reached its peak in a federal courtroom has arrived at yet another chapter, with 6ix9ine behind bars and Trippie free to watch from a distance. The beef between these two has never formally ended. There's been no public reconciliation, no acknowledgement of past wrongs, no indication that either party is ready to move past what went down. 6ix9ine still brings up Trippie in streams and interviews, and Trippie still dismisses 6ix9ine whenever he's asked about the situation. The footage circulating from 6ix9ine's surrender becomes another artifact in a conflict that's produced years of content for hip-hop observers. What started with two young artists chasing success on SoundCloud has become a case study in how fast collaboration can curdle into animosity, how fame amplifies conflict, and how the consequences of choices made in pursuit of credibility can follow artists for years. 6ix9ine sits in MDC Brooklyn as of January 2026, scheduled to serve his sentence through early spring. Trippie Redd continues his career unburdened by incarceration. The footage keeps circulating, the beef continues, and the story remains unfinished. So now the question is, was this new footage just Trippie trolling for attention, or was it a calculated shot at 6ix9ine in their long-running beef? Let me know what you think in the comments section. For more videos like this, click on...
Alright, we back. See, that's what I be thinking. I be thinking like, man, these type of rappers, man, they done got to such of a big level in their career that anything that they do now, if it's not to that top tier, or they can't get to that top tier, either they don't post, or we just don't see it or hear about it. You know, if 6ix9ine wasn't bringing up Trippie Redd, we probably wouldn't be remembering Trippie Redd. He'd be like the other nigga, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci. No, I forgot that nigga name. But you feel what I'm saying? Like, we reacted to videos back in the day. But that's why we gotta continue to keep being great, never give up, don't plateau, and stay uncomfortable, gang. We got this bitch hood and outside. Big Crippin' gang, that's our shit, man.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.